full on, just the way we like it, celebrating Tony Williams, recorded live at the Queen Elizabeth Hall during last November's Radio 3 London Jazz Festival. And we'll be going back for the second half of that show in just a short while. But before that, just before the gig, I managed to grab Sco for a quick chat on his way to the buffet.
Well, I'm in the green room of the Queen Elizabeth Hall with John Scofield now. Hi there, John.
Hi.
It's quite an interesting project, this one that I've been really excited about seeing. I think a lot of hardcore fans out there tonight, hardcore Lifetime fans.
Yeah.
Tell us about how this came together.
It was Jack DeJohnette's idea, and he wanted to do it originally at the Montreal Jazz Festival when he was the artist in residence a couple of years ago, but we couldn't get everybody's schedule together. But, I was interested, and Larry Goldings was interested too. And the first thing, I guess, was the same instrumentation as the Tony Williams Lifetime, but then it broadened from there. But it's become and really is a tribute to Tony Williams, who was the famous jazz drummer and direct predecessor to Jack DeJohnette on the New York jazz scene. Jack came in the 60s and replaced Tony. When Tony started his own group, Jack replaced him with Miles Davis. And sort of as far as famous drummers go, the line goes down to Tony Williams, and then the next famous jazz drummer pretty much is Jack DeJohnette.
And Jack's involvement is actually, as well as you say, kind of taking over from Tony and Miles's band, he also, I think, introduced John McLaughlin.
That's right, he did, to Tony Williams. And that's how Tony met John to start the Tony Williams Lifetime.
So let's talk now specifically about Lifetime. I mean, listening back, this band still sounds ultra modern, but at the time,
really modern. Yeah, right.
Just tell us how incredible this was, because especially for an organ trio, as some people have labeled it, this was really something far out.
Well, they were playing really free, and I remember when I got their record and heard them live, I was just starting to get into jazz, and it was a weird time to get into jazz, the late 60s, like 69, because a lot of the stuff that was really free. And so you would listen to music that you couldn't tell what. I was trying to learn how to play jazz, not just as a fan, So it was really out, And I went to hear those guys, and I kind of didn't understand what they were doing, but I loved it, and I loved the spirit of it, and the spirit of it was really intense with McLaughlin and with organ in a way that jazz hadn't been before. And I remember hearing him at the Slugs, a club in the East Village, when they first started out, and they really turned a lot of heads. A lot of the sort of straight jazz fans couldn't use it, and I think it was. But the musicians really flipped out, because, especially us guitar players, because of John McLaughlin, because he was so special and unique and different, and we know that we went on to do so much after that.
But as a trio, I mean, one of the things that was really different about this was it was a drum-led trio, right? Mm-hmm. And I guess that's something you're trying to kind of capture in this project.
We're not trying to capture the Tony Williams Lifetime at
Impossible,
all.
Eh?
Yeah, I mean, why should we? We have our own music that we play individually. But, when we do the tunes, we're really not saying, this is what, we're not like, a cover band, because that wouldn't be, that's not what it's, creative music's about, But all of us sure listen to that music a lot, and it influenced us.
So who's written the new music? Are you playing stuff from your own repertoire? Yeah, you put together new music?
Here's the thing. We're playing a lot of songs, because it's celebrating Tony Williams. We're playing a lot of music that Tony played. Wayne Shorter tunes, Miles Davis tunes. We played a Larry Young tune. Tonight, I'm not sure if we're going to play one of our originals, but each of us wrote an original that's kind of dedicated to Tony Williams. And the idea of a drummer-led group, to get back to what you said, it is really important that the drums took this really primary role in that trio, and I think they do too tonight with Jack's playing too. So you were right on there.
And I mean, the other thing was that for a trio at the time, music was going through a big change at that time, but the time signatures, I mean, some of the pieces from those Lifetime pieces are changing all the time.
Well, you know what? I think they play some stuff in 5 and in 7 and 11 is true. But they were also playing with no time signature, and we get into some of that, where every measure's different because it's not a measure. We're just playing free, and if it turns into a time signature, they were really influenced by free jazz, as are all of us.
Okay, so now you're doing a European tour with this, John, and then is this trio, do you think, is going to kind of have a life of its own after
I hope
this?
so. I mean, we've been recording every night. We want to put out something, probably a live record from this tour, and keep going, do something. I mean, I don't know if it'll always be celebrating Tony Williams, because I think that's just this little project we're doing right now, but we all like playing together.
Okay, John, well, thanks for your time. You better get back to the stage.
I got to go eat.
John Scofield talking to me backstage at the Celebrating Tony Williams gig at the Queen Elizabeth Hall in London. I think he had time to grab a couple of sausages before he picked up his guitar. So let's join him and the rest of the band back on stage for the second half. And here's Jack DeJohnette to introduce the next tune.